In 2025, I, along with two friends, launched into the River Severn near Bristol and paddled across England, finally arriving at Gravesend in Kent. This year I plan to pick up the journey and paddle all the way from Gravesend along the Kent coastline, ending up in Bexhill in East Sussex. So with the sun just creeping up and the beginning of an ebbing tide, I set off, heading east along the River Thames towards the North Sea. Even this early in the day, the Thames was busy. Luckily, it was only inbound ships, which were fairly easy to spot and avoid. My original plan was to keep as close as possible to the main channel, maximising the tidal assistance, but I was fairly certain the ships were unaware of me, so I kept a safe distance. And as I turned north towards the port of London, the river widened and became less of a worry. I even paused long enough for a quick selfie. I'd planned to hug the south bank of the Thames, following it round to the Grain Battery Tower, and then make a short 1 kilometre crossing to the Isle of Sheppey. However, I hadn't realised how fast and how far the tide drops here. My last clear sight of the shore was a caravan park at Old Hallows, so I soon gave up the idea of crossing the front of the River Medway and decided to head directly south to Sheppey as soon as I passed the last sandbank. This took longer than I expected, but eventually, with the bottom of the boat scraping the sand, I went over the last area of low water and headed almost due south to reach Sheerness. The thing about kayaking is you often end up on a beach somewhere, and invariably you end up scattering all of your gear around just to make a simple cup of tea and have something to eat. But what a glorious place to come. The sun's just coming out now, tide's dropping, but look at that water, absolute mill pond. Just as well, because out in the distance, I don't know if we can see it, the SS Montgomery, the well-known bomb that might go off at some point if we're unlucky. And in a moment I'll be launching and going off in that direction, heading east towards the end of Sheppey, and then cutting down to Whitstable. Leaving Sheerness, I was now paddling against the tide, but I kept close to the shore, and in a couple of hours I reached Warden Point. There's a wonderful landmark here of 2 collapsed pillboxes on the beach, but the incoming tide had already covered one. So rather than stopping, I kept pushing on to heading towards Sheerness Beach, where I could have lunch before crossing to Whitstable. By now the sun was pretty much at its highest point, and there was little shade, but I wanted to stop here for a good hour or so, waiting for the tide to fully come in and allow me to cross at the slackest point. I could see Whitstable in the distance, but I wasn't certain of the exact point to aim for. Launching again just before high tide was the right decision. I avoided the fast flow of the water exiting the River Swale, and once halfway across, I was able to get a better idea where to aim for. So, end of day one. Here I am at Whitstable Bay. Really nice little spot. Hopefully it'll be quiet enough to camp. waiting for people to head off the beach, and then I'll start to look to put up my tent. Get an early night, back on the water tomorrow about 5 o'clock, so be gone before anyone gets up. Brilliant day, really good. Did about 54 kilometres, left Gravesend at 5 o'clock. Big thanks to my mate John for driving me up there. Set off down the Thames, went quite quickly on the Thames, 7-8 kilometres an hour. So yeah, that was good. Difficult coming out of the Thames, the mud flats all around all hollows, and that area very difficult to navigate. Ran aground once, had to get out of the boat and drag her off the sandbank, but generally it's pretty good. And where are we going to go tomorrow? Well, tomorrow I'm going to leave here, as I say, about 5 o'clock, catch the tide. Tide should be with me from 6, and push all the way around and try and get to Sandwich Bay. So brilliant start to the trip. 4 more days to go. On the second day, I packed up camp and was on the water by 5 AM. The southbound flow began at 6, and I was soon slipping past Whitstable Harbour, well known for its oysters, and the pretty town of Herne Bay. Once past these two, I could see the outline of the Recluver Towers, sitting high up on the skyline. This was my first time check, and would let me know if I was going to reach Foreness Point in time to meet the change of tide. One last push past Foreness Point, and I was heading west down the English Channel. I haven't paddled any of this area before, and I wasn't certain what to expect. My first experience was the 1760s Kingsgate Castle, which was well worth stopping to take pictures. After this I continued down the coast, passing lovely sandy beaches at Josh Bay and Stone Bay and Broadstairs, until I finally reached Ramsgate Harbour. Paddling towards Deal Pier, I reflected on the last couple of hours. When I was at Ramsgate Harbour, my original plan was to turn right and head to the beach at Sandwich Bay, but it was only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd always fancied the idea of visiting Goodwin Sands from Ramsgate. Sitting at the harbour entrance, I looked around. There was no wind, excellent visibility, next to no swell, and I was on the fastest path of the tide. I took the decision to cut across the bay, cross over the sands, and land at Deal. After this short break at Deal, I continued down the coast, but after 12 hours of paddling, I was ready to stop for the day. So as soon as I saw someone had set up tent, I did just that.